guys, it's Sven on the SDS channel back again, and today we're gonna have a look at the Kier First Sword of Death 1/6 scale action figure done by TBLeague, and I think they're accompanied by Sideshow Originals. These figures were originally statues, and now this is the first figure in 1/6 scale action figure form, and I believe they've announced another figure from the same series, and yeah, this is the first one. It came in this brown shipping box, and we're gonna get back to that once I've revealed what's inside the box. So let's just get straight to it, guys, and I'll make a little cut here and I'll be back in just a second, so hold on, guys. And yeah, here is the reason why the shipping box is so big. The actual figure box right here, and you have this piece of styrofoam that is the base itself. So now, as we got that out of the way, we'll take a quick look at each thing separately. So yeah, here we have the box for the figure itself, and as you can see, you have this really nice picture on this mask here. It's a skull with horns and some soul thing going around there. The text on the front is very reflective, so if I tip it a little bit, you can see Kier First Sword of Death 1/6 scale action figure, with various logos here for Sideshow, Court of the Dead series, and TBLeague. On the side you have the name of the figure with the picture of the sword. On the back you have a picture of the figure, as well as some choking hazard stuff and all that. And the other side is exactly the same. And that's the figure box. Here you have the styrofoam. I've already cut it open to save some time. Sorry for the camera flickering, it's because of all the white you see here. But yeah, you open it like that and you just pull out the base, and that's that. So the styrofoam comes packed in a plastic bag with all these small candy bags you're not supposed to eat. And I'll just remove that. Here is the base, and it has a nice heft to it. And this fill, or whatever you want to call it, it's some sort of soft type of fabric to prevent it from slipping on the shelf, with the TBLeague under there. And it's really nicely done. I suspect there's some plastic in all of this, but as you can see on the base itself, you have some various skeleton pieces there. You got the skull in every 2 slots around here, and corresponding you have these brass looking pieces here, and they're painted. And let's see if we can get into the details here. You see the skulls there, and you have some ribbons here and there. And yeah, that goes all the way around the edges there. On top you have this huge rocks coming out. Some rocks and bones and some dirt and stuff in the middle here. See some jaw bones and stuff. Really nicely done, this space. And yeah. And that's pretty much it for the base itself. Let's go back to the figure and the box and have a look at the contents. Hold on. And yeah, here's the box again. And it opens by opening the magnetic flaps on the sides there, and you just simply lift off the cover. And I really love this, so you don't stretch open the seams and folds on the packaging and stuff, and it helps keeping the condition of the box itself. And here's an extra added piece of information, and you can read that if you want. Let's see if I can get it in focus here. There's the entire text if you want to read that, and it simply shows the limitation of the body and the joints itself, and how to do and how not to do things. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that piece of information. And then you're confronted with the first piece of protective foam layer. And in the first layer here you have her mask, the body, and this neck piece armor here, and a skull with that soul looking thing here. We're going to take a better look at everything in a second. And the head is packed separate. In the next layer, if I can remove this here, you have some more bits and pieces, and that's hands, interchangeable feet, and some necklace and armor stuff right there. And in the next layer you have her sword and cape. So let's take a closer look at each item, and yeah, I'll be back in a second. So going through the accessories, we're starting right here with the sword, and if I can zoom in here, the sword is really nicely detailed, and as you can see, it's not a complete mirror mold. There's a back and front to the butt cap on the sword here. As you can see, there's the back of this angel, and there is the front, and there's some really nice sculpt work in the handle here, going down to the guard itself, where you can see the skull in the center. And I'm not sure, but it looks like a couple of demons on both sides hanging on to the center skull here, and that is the same on both sides. And you have this flake finish in the silver on the blade here, and there is some copper paint in the details there, but my camera do not do this sword justice. Maybe you can see it a little bit better now. But in hand it's more prominent. But yeah, and you have this long blade with the silver flake finish on it. And that's the sword. You also get this cape. If I unfold it here, and there's a wire. I feel it running down on the bottom edge here, and yeah, it runs all around the edge here, not around between this right there though, because this goes around the neck, so it's a little bit looser, as you can see. You also have these strings to tie it up with. Looking at the back side, I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it, but I'm not too keen on all types of fabrics here, but you can see there's some weathering and like holes and stuff, like the moths have been eating on the cape itself. On the inside, however, it's nicely detailed with some artwork here, various colors. Some of the lines do not come across as well in my camera light here, but you can barely see. Here you can see them a little bit better, some more artistic lines and stuff like that. And yeah, the wire will help making the cape look more natural on the body and stuff. So yeah, that's the cape. I'm gonna carefully fold it back together here, and we move on to the next tray. Or should mention, here's another couple of bags of the candy you're not supposed to eat. But yeah, that's that. In the next foam layer we have some hands, and you can see they're pretty dark painted, but there's a reason for that, and I'll get back to it once we look at the figure. But here you have like a claw pose for this left hand, and here's one for the right hand. See if I can get a close look at this one. As you can see here, not much shading in it, but it looks kind of matte, the paint. But again, there's a reason for that, and we'll get back to that in a second. And the next set of hands here are, they're not identical, there's actually two different hands. The one on the right here looks like it's holding a larger object than the one on the left. As you can see, a little bit different pose on the fingers and stuff too, but they're nicely detailed. You can see all the wrinkles in the skin and the nails, and yeah. Then you have left and a right foot for like high heel shoes. I assume there's no shoes yet as far as I can see, but it will make for a different pose anyway. But yeah, you got a pair of interchangeable feet. And let's see here. Whoa! You got this piece. It's what's called bracelet with a silver finish. Maybe the entire mold is in grey plastic, and added silver details. But this thing is so tiny I can barely pick it up on camera. There's some, it looks like some skeletons wrapped around the entire ring. Again, sorry for the flickering, but it's too bright for the objects there. Oh, so yeah, it's the bracelet piece. It's the same details all through here. Next piece here is yet another bracelet. This one is a demon head with horns and everything, and you have these organic lines going through it with the molded details that look like bones and horns and everything here. They're really nicely detailed for such a small object. And yeah, that's that piece. Next up we have this arm bracer, or whatever you want to call it. It's for the entire lower arm, with the backhand protection piece here. You have this beautiful horn piece sticking out here. Nicely molded, nicely detailed all through here, with some skulls and whatnot. Really nicely done. Got some dry brushing of gold here to make it pop a little. And yeah, that's this bracer piece. And you get a pair of these shin armors. As you can see, they're painted the same way. It's a gold dry brush on top of some copper paint here, and it's really nicely detailed. You can see the simulated hammer marks and stuff here, really nicely done. But it's molded plastic though, and they're marked left and right, as you can see there, so you're sure you get the right side for the right leg. You also get a pair of these shoulder armor pieces. Here's some sort of rubber band. I suggest you be careful putting them on, because it's not glued. It looks like it's tied in with some sort of string here, and there's a right and left of these two. Again, it's a gold dry brush over some copper paint, and yet again you can see the skulls, the simulated hammer marks and stuff in it here, and yeah, really nicely done. As I said, you get two of these, and that's that for the second layer. Just put it aside here. Moving on to the top layer, the figure at least, or at last. Let's take a look at the neck guard piece here. Again, it's some dry brush copper paint, gold paint on some copper paint here, done the same fashion as the rest of the armor, nicely detailed. And yeah, you see here's the room for the cape to go through on the sides here. So you have to slide the cape in those gaps. And yeah, done this same way. And let's see here, nothing else in there now. Let's have a look at this mask. And They've done something genius here, guys. They're using magnets instead of pegs, and I love that. This is genius stuff. This skull is the same as the one seen in the front of the packaging. Really nicely detailed. Got some green dry brushing here, and yeah, and the jaw bones here attached by the string. Really nicely painted and dry brushed. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful done. So yeah, that's the mask. Taking a look at this skull here. You see there's holes, so you can take one of the hands and slide the fingers in so she holds the skull. Excuse me. The skull itself here is also really nicely painted, dry brushed. You have this sort of wet effect here. Really nicely done. See this soul thing coming out. There's some sculpting. You can see there's some skeleton ghosts and stuff going through it. And this flame thing here, it's glued onto the skull. But it's beautifully done, guys. TBLeague has done some excellent work on this figure. And then we have the head sculpt itself, which is also a superb job in my opinion. If I can stop the camera flickering. Nicely painted, nicely sculpted, and yeah, see the tattoo details on the lower lip going down the chin here. You have some silver pieces or clamps on the braids here. The braids themselves are nicely painted and sculpted with more of these clamps here. Got 3 braids going down the back. They're not on any ball joints, so they're not poseable, so be careful. Rest of the hair, how it's bundled up and stuff, and you got another clamp on top here painted in silver. So, and while I still have the head in my hand here, the skull simply attaches like this by magnet. Really nicely done. And here we have the body itself. If I can take it out. Now, here's the reason why the hands are so dark and the rest of the body is so pale. It looks like she's been doing some body cavity work on somebody, because she got blood all the way up to her elbows and all the way up to her knees. I don't want to think about what she's done with her feet there, but somebody's butt is hurting, I'm telling you that. This is an entirely new body mold, as far as I can see. And the reason why, if camera can stop flickering, is on the back. She have obviously had some wings in the past and they've cut them off. I don't know the story behind the character, but yeah, so this is new. You can't find that on any past TBLeague bodies. And yeah, we're gonna do a fan service in a short while here. First, we're gonna look at abdomen armor, done in some gold, copper dry brushing and stuff, and it's really nicely done here, with the straps going around the back. And you have the loincloth done with some, if I can focus, done in some silver dry brushing on some darker silver hair. Got this fabric piece here, and it's the same on the back. She does have underwear, guys, so that's all you got to get to see for now. If you want to see more, you got to pick this figure up and check yourself. But yeah, she have the flat feet on here, so there's no boots or anything like that. So yeah, that's the body of the figure. So give me a few minutes and I'll assemble the figure, and we have a look at the finished assembly. And here is everything in the box splayed out. Back over here you have the contents of the first layer, including the body and the head sculpt. And down here you have the contents of the second layer, which includes 2 extra pair of hands and a pair of high-heeled feet, as well as the armor and jewelry pieces. Over here you have the contents of the third layer, which includes the sword and the cape, and the base came in a separate styrofoam box. And here is the figure straight out of the box with the head sculpt attached. And yeah, that's how she looks without the gear. And I'm gonna put on all the accessories and I'll be right back. Yeah, here guys, we have the finished assembled figure, and I've added all the accessories that's in the box, leaving just high-heeled post feet and a couple of pair of hands left in the box. And yeah, here she is, guys, masked and armored, and yeah, I'm gonna do a quick 360 spin here, so you can see her from various angles. As you can see, here's the figure from the back. And from this side. And yeah, it's really beautifully done. I'm gonna move in a bit closer for the details here. So, as you can see, I'm going to try to lower the camera. The skull fits nicely in a set of holes that's already on the skull here, and you just use one of the left hand grasping post hands, and yeah, you basically just wrestle the fingers into the holes, 4 in the front there and 1 by the thumb, let's see here, back here. The pointing finger though, it doesn't quite go into the hole because it's lifted a bit much up, but it holds it very securely. Then we have the mask, attaches by magnet, really nicely done. And yeah, the neck piece, the plastic piece, have a couple of slots or indentations in the mold, so you can slide the cape over the back piece and still have the shoulder sections on top of the cape here. A little bit hard to see, but as you can see here, there's a section with a gap here. You can just slide the cape into it. However, the weight of the cape makes this plastic collar piece here tip backwards. I recommend using some hot water or hair dryer or something to soften the rubber up. Pin it down on the figure and wait for it to cool down and settle. Anything else? Yeah, the cape is attached by a string to avoid getting the loops and stuff in the front here. I recommend flipping. You tie it and you make another loop to get the knot on the back, and you slide everything over the neck here. Also, I recommend for the leg armor, if I can lower a little bit more. The leg armor has this gap in the back, so you can pry it a little bit open, but it's really hard to get over all this silicone stuff, so I highly recommend warming them up in either hot water or using a hair dryer to soften the plastic up a little bit so it's easier to get on. Do not try to slide it up, because the silicone skin will just suck into the plastic and you can't slide it up. So yeah, anything else? No, I don't think so. I'm pretty happy with the figure here as it is. So the figure itself is okay. Then we have the stand that at least mine came with. Right here, I'm gonna do or attempt to do a Houdini here, but it's hard to get the figure to stand on this base. First of all, it's a short or small amount of space here between the stones, and if you have the cape post over these rocks, it might tip over the figure. You can't have much of a wide stance here because of the tiny area, and there you have this rock that's sitting a little bit higher up than the base part here, so it's hard to get the figure balancing because you need to lift one leg higher than the other. And trying to find a way for this to actually work. I would be scared to have it posed on this space for display for a long amount of time. She stands fully on her own on that base now, not supported by anything. But if somebody downstairs slammed the door, the figure would probably tip over. But yeah, it's a really nice figure. So yeah, I'm happy to have this figure. Let me know what you think in the comments, and hit the like button if you like the video, and yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.